Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening, everyone. You're welcome. Apologies for starting the meeting late. Okay, it's 7. So we'll just wait 5 minutes for others to join. We are expecting more people to join the call. So once they join, we'll start properly. So by 7:05, we'll get started.
All right.
Hello. So, all right. Good day, everyone. Good evening from wherever we are around the world. So, we're about to start today's webinar session. And today's webinar session is titled Understanding the Rudiments of Web Scraping for Data Science and Analytics Processes. So, now, what we are going to do now is we're going to just wait just 1 minute and make sure that some other people join. So just hold on, please. Thank you.
All right. So while we wait, let's give you a little bit background story about MindFlux and why MindFlux and what we are offering. All right. So MindFlux came from the point where, or it was better from the idea that we noticed that as much as there is opportunity out there, because we live in a tech. Before now, we would say tech-driven future, but the future is now really. And then because we live in that future presently, we are in that we're in a tech-driven world now. A lot of people, there's a lot of opportunity as either as an individual, you want to be an employee, you want to be a founder, or whatsoever um, area you want to follow, either as an entrepreneur in data or in technology, or you want to be a leader or whatever. There's the opportunity out there. And then there is the ambition where a lot of us are interested in this future. We want to be part of it. We want to earn a living from it. We want to build products, make a name from ourselves. But there's a problem, right? It is skills and knowledge gap. That is the problem. Now, aside the fact that the information is now abundant, because if you want to learn data science, you can literally just walk up to a YouTube course, then to YouTube, check for a course on Udemy and all of that. But one thing that we notice is that these courses or what we want to do different is the fact that a lot of people have knowledge, they have information, but they don't know how to utilize it. They don't know how to in some way they are not employable basically, right? And that's because they don't even know how to start. Basically, a lot of people don't know how to start. Now what we are trying to do at Mindflux and the way we structured our curriculums are project based, portfolio based, but we've structured the curriculum in a way that by the time you're done with us, you've used the 14 weeks for data science analytics, you'd have portfolio, real world project portfolio, not just a demo. We would have taken you to through the step by step, the process at which you start and finish a project. And at the end of the day, you have your portfolio. And at that point, you can begin to apply for internship, job opportunities, or whatsoever. So that's the idea we are doing our Mindflux and our approach. And we are taking it step by step, really. And we are building it because great things takes good time to come out. All right. So that's a little bit about Mindflux. I will now allow Ayobami to start his session properly. And once it starts, towards the end of it, we'll then wrap up. All right. Thank you very much. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Olumide, and I am the Director of Program and Strategy here at Mindflux Academy. Ayobami, are you there? You're muted.
All right, so we are going to dive into what we have today. So, and what we have is the topic about web scraping. So, we're going to be looking at what web scraping is and what does it has to do with data science and analytics. So, we are going to be looking at that in full. So, now let us dive into it. So before I go in, my name is Ayobami Salau, and I am the data science and analytics instructor at Mindflux Academy. So now what you will learn today is you're going to understand the fundamentals and importance of web scraping. Then also we're going to be doing an hands-on with Python tools like Request, BeautifulSoup, and Selenium. And also we are going to build functional scrapers and export to CSV and JSON. And we're going to clean and prepare data using pandas. And we're going to explore real-world applications and discover ethical and robust scraping practices. So all this, we have gathered it inside this webinar. So let's dive right in. So now, we have heard about the word web scraping. So now, what is web scraping? Now, I know most of us that we are on this Google Meet call right now. We have actually, in one way or the other, interact with data at one point or the other. So, and we know that the stress of sourcing for data online or in repositories or in any platform is so stressing. And in the case whereby we can't actually see the data that we need online, so the alternative way to actually tackle such problem is to scrape the web for that particular data set. That is provided we actually see the data set on a particular website, basically. So, and web scraping automates data extraction from websites. That's just what it is about. So you can go to any website, you can go to the World Health Organization website, you can go to Amazon website, and you can scrape any data you want to scrape from there. You can extract data and use it for your data science and analysis project. So, and it is used in market research, analytics, and competitive intelligence. So, in the case whereby you are being employed as a data scientist or a data analyst, and maybe you are employed into a firm, and the firm is just getting into a new terrain, and they need to carry out a market research, and the market research actually has to do with getting a data that is not readily available, and the only way you can get that data is online. So then web scraping is just a way of actually doing that. And one thing about web scraping is that it helps collect large scale information efficiently. So let's move right to the tools for web scraping. So here we have the tools that we can use for web scraping, basically. And they are listed here as we can see them. We have them here. We have a request, and request here, it sends HTTP requests to websites. And we have BeautifulSoup. It passes HTML content. So it is used to pass HTML content after reading the HTTP request from the website that we want to scrape data from. And we have Selenium. It automates browsers for dynamic sites. So any website that is dynamic, then Selenium is actually handy in order to use it to scrape data from such websites. So we also have Scrapy, which is a web scraping framework. So it's a standalone. It stands alone. It can be used to scrape data or extract data from a website. So also we have the fast XML or HTML parser. So that also can be used to scrape data from the web. And we also have the last one, which is LangChain, which is language chain, which is a large language model powered scraping for structured info. So we are going to be looking at these web scraping tools, and which we can use with the help of a programming language which is called Python, which is a very popular programming language. So now, after we actually know the tools we can use to actually scrape data from the website, then we will need to clean the scraped data. After we are done scraping the data set, where we scrape a data set from a particular website, then we can now have it in the raw format, because the data set will not be in the clean format. So it has to be clean. So, and we can do that with the use and help of pandas. So, and pandas is a Python library. So, and it is used for manipulating data frame. It can be used to create data frame. And it allows us to be able to handle anything that has to do with missing data, duplicate, and we can use it to convert format fields like strings, date time, etc., etc. And also we can save the data to CSV or JSON for further analysis. And when I mean further analysis like where you build your machine learning models using different algorithms varying from supervised to unsupervised machine learning algorithms. So now we are going to look at real world applications. So now when it comes to web scraping, there is a reason that we are scraping the web for data. And the reason is based on a lot of things. And it is business oriented and focused. So that's where we can actually move into business intelligence, whereby we can track pricing and competitors. So, and also it's web scraping application has to do with when we want to research about things that we don't actually have thorough knowledge about or technical know-how about. We can we can scrape the web to get such data. So to collect open data from public portals. So, and also it's used for data journalism to extract and investigate at scale. For example, we can scale CNN website for news that has to do with crypto and so on and so forth like that. And also, it is used for our machine learning processes. That's to create data sets for training models and as well to build interactive dashboards. So now we're going to talk about best practices in web scraping. So now, when we talk about best practices, what do we mean by that? It means the right way of doing things. So we need to know how to do things rightly. So, and part of it is trying to know some certain things. For example, we need to check the site terms and conditions before scraping. Some website doesn't allow that, and some website allows that you can scrape their website for data. And if you have access to an application programming interface, which is called API, so you can use API. You understand, when it is available. It's not necessary you actually scrape that particular website when they actually provide an API where you can consume their data. So, and also use delays and IP rotation to avoid blocking. So some websites are very hard to scrape due to the fact that they can block you based on some certain reason. That is, if you are actually scraping their website. So best practices is that you use delays and you use IP rotation, which we are going to see in a practical very soon now. So, and also avoid overloading the server. So, which means that you scrape responsibly. So now, what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about the summary and the next steps. So, because it has to do with going into the actual practical. So, web scraping is a critical skill for data science and data analysis. So, because it allows you to actually get quality data and first-hand data that actually has to do with the domain of field you are actually tackling the problem. And also, you can start simple, which is using request and BeautifulSoup. That's the most simplest way of scraping a website. So, and also you can explore dynamic scraping, which has to do with Selenium or Scrappy, which is another form or another way of scraping the website. And also we can consider large language models like LangChain for complex tasks. So that is, you want to actually scrape a website that is so big and that is so versatile, then you can use LangChain. And also practice by building your own scrapers and cleaning pipelines. So all this now I'm going to show you in a bit just now. Okay. So now we're going into the actual practical. Okay, so I just want to know, can everyone hear me, please? So before I actually proceed, basically. So I just want to know if I'm on the same page.
Yes, please.
All right, good. So now we are going to be going into the actual practical. And firstly, we have talked about what web scraping is. And one thing there is that if you know Python but not HTML, you should understand the basics of HTML basically. And but I know at a point we have all interfaced or we have dabbled into HTML. But today's webinar is not about HTML; it's about web scraping basically. So now we are going to be practicalizing web scraping in essence. So we're going to be looking at a particular website. And which website am I talking about? I'm talking about the NigeriaPropertyCenter.com. So, and this is the website, the Nigeria Property Center. So now, just imagine that I relocated to Abuja, and um, or maybe I want to relocate to Abuja from Lagos. So, and I don't know how to get the first-hand information about rent, how rent is in particular areas in Abuja, or let me say, for example, in Lagos, like Lekki, Alimosho, Ikeja, Ikorodu, Papa, and so on and so forth, like that. So, and there's no way before you can have access to different um, people that actually deal with properties and so on and so forth, the stress is going to be very much. So with the help of web scraping, you can go to a very, very reliable website. For example, Nigeria Property Center, it actually gives us a lot of information about flats, houses, lands, and commercial property in Nigeria, basically. So in different locations, different states around the whole worldwide, in Nigeria, basically. So here we want to actually see if we can get first-hand information, something that can actually help us to know what we can budget or what to budget if I relocate to Abuja. What should I be considering? What should I put in my at the back of my mind? So, and this is just one of the example, basically. So I'm just using this as an example. So this example is very, 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 very good, and it's going to simulate your mind so you understand the practical application of what web scraping can do, basically. So now, just imagine I go to this website and I will just be going through up and down, and it's the stress of going through the website is going to be stressful. You can see we have different properties here. You can see you can see prices and so on and so forth, like that. 3-bedroom flat, apartment for rent, like if it's one. So, but the point there is this is that let's say that I'm being hired as a data analyst or a data scientist, understand, um, in a particular organization where we have, let's say, or they consulted me as a data scientist or a data analyst, and someone said that he wants to know the prices of houses in Abuja or rent in Abuja or prices of land in Abuja. So I know I have this website. So I can go ahead and come to this place and scrape this website. So what scraping does is it saves me the stress of surfing around this whole page here, this website here. I'll be clicking from one place to another, and it's going to be very stressful. What web scraping does is it allows me to query to scrape this particular website, this Nigeria Property Center. I scrape it once and for all. I get the summary of all the data of what I need, and I get to tell my client, okay, this is what we have, this is it, this is not it. So that's the beauty of it, and that's the beauty of data science, and trying to crunch numbers and get insight from numbers. So not to talk too much, let's go into it. So now we're going to look at the first one, which is the first approach of trying to scrape a website, which is the Nigeria Property Center.com website. So now, first thing first, I want to use request plus BeautifulSoup. So, like I said, request actually allows us to interact with the particular website, basically. So, BeautifulSoup allows us to actually convert HTML information, put it and pass it as HTML and be able to turn it into a data frame. So now what we do here is before you actually carry out that, so you need to install NumPy and Pandas. So here in particular, I put a specific version of NumPy and Pandas. So after that, we need to import some particular libraries. So we need to import NumPy, we need to import Pandas, we need to import requests, and we also need to import BeautifulSoup. So, and if you know you don't have BeautifulSoup, you can pip install BeautifulSoup. So now how can you install all these things? Basically, if you don't know how to pip install these things, if you want anything or you want to get first-hand knowledge, you can go to pip.org. So if you go to pip.org, you'll be able to have access to vast amounts of large libraries and packages of Python, where I can search for, let me say, BeautifulSoup. So if I search for beautiful suit, basically, so on the PyP official website, so it's going to give me how I can pip install beautiful soup. So you can see here. So I'll just have to I'll click on this basically. So you can see it shows me how I can pip install beautiful soup. So I'll just copy this from here, showing copy, then I come back here, I paste inside my code cell and I run it. So that's all. So now, haven't we import all these libraries and packages? And the next thing is we need to pass in the URL and get the status code. Now, why do we need to pass in the URL to get a status code? So we need to be able to know if that particular website allows scraping. So, and that is where we actually get the status code 200. So here we pass in the URL, which is the HTTPS NigeriaPropertyCenter.com for rent. So what we are dealing with is for rent, basically. So we can see from here for rent, if you want to click on for sale, you can click on for sale, that is properties for sale. If you're interested in properties for sale, you pass in that particular URL for sale. You're looking for complaints. So the particular data we want to scrape is for rent. So we want to know rent, basically. So that's why we put the NigeriaPropertyCenter.com for rent. So then we have the headers. Now, these headers are the type of user agents. Now, when we say user agents, now different people uses different browsers. So depending on the browser you are using, so that's why we specify if you are using Mozilla, you are using Chrome, you are using Safari, so Apple WebKit or anything you are using. So you have to specify. So yeah, I just put everything here. So just to be on a safer side for the tutorial, for the webinar sake. So for those that love using Mozilla, some people like Chrome and so on and so forth like that. So when we run this, it's going to give us a status code. Okay, let's run this. So it's going to give us a status code of 200, basically. So it's showing us that okay, the website can allow scraping. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the content and also pass the URL into Beautiful Soup. So we're going to request use response request to get the URL and pass it into an header, and then we are going to make sure that it is passing into Beautiful Soup as an HTML. So we can do that by running this line of code. So after running this line of code and it has run, so we can see. So now the next thing is now we have to now what we want to do now is we want to now take all the old data that we have scraped from this particular page, that is the for rent. So you can see these pages, you can see we have a lot of information on this page. So now all these things that is here, so we don't need everything that is here basically. So we just only need few things that are here, and the things that we need, we are going to specify. So and what do we need? We need description of the rent, the property we want to rent. We need the house type, we need the location, we need the price. So these are the things that we need. And if we look closely at this place, you are going to see that we have the description. You can see here we have the description type, 2 bedroom, the price, and we have it. Everything is showing just here. So, and that being said, when we pass in with all this code here, this for loop code and so on and so forth. So what we did here was we actually scraped just 100. We want to scrape 1,000 entries, 1,000 rows. So which means that this particular code is going to, this block of code is going to actually scrape this website and look for properties in different locations nationwide, and actually until it reaches the 1,000 rows before it stops, getting anything from the website. So if we want more data set, we can actually increase it to 5,000, 10,000, depending on how robust we want the data set to be. So now when we run this, we're going to see now. So we're going to wait for it to actually, so our kernel is busy. So we're going to wait for it to run basically. So wait for it. So it's actually going into this, scraping this website at this moment, just now, the nigeriapropertycenter.com. So we're going to wait for it. So now what it's going to do, if it has completely scraped that particular page, is going to return a data frame for us. Whereas with the help of pandas, we're going to see a data frame, and we're going to see the data frame having columns like description, house type, location, and price, basically. So I'm going to wait for it to actually come up. So let's give it a moment. Okay, so it's taking a lot of time. So I just want to show us that it is actually working basically. So, but just to continue, so after we actually run this particular block of code, so it's going to return a data frame for us. And the data frame, okay, I think it just did that just now. So we have this now. So you can see now it's already scraped 1,000 rows from this website. So, and what we have here, we have the description of the property, we have the house type, we have the location, and we have the price, basically. So now we are going to perform some exploratory data analysis, basically. And what do we mean exploratory data analysis? Exploratory data analysis actually has to do with, where we try to understand the data and we try to clean the data before it is ready for analysis. So where we do some descriptive analysis and so on and so forth. So now we're going to look at the info, df.info, and what we have here is that the information of what we scraped. See, we have 4 columns. We have description of the property, house type, location, and price. So we have, you can see 1,000 rows for each, basically. So, and they are all objects. But if we look closely, we are having a problem here. So we know description, house type, location, they can be objects, but price cannot be object. Price has to be a numerical variable, which means an integer or a float, basically. So, but here we have price. So, and we need to take care of that later on. So, but before we do that, we need to describe the data set. So we know that df.describe allows us to describe everything we have in our data set. So here we have count, unique, we have the top, we have the frequency. So that's for the data set. So this is describing that we have 1,000 rows for all the columns, and we have, for the description, we have unique 57 data points that are unique. So we have house type, we have location, we have price, and so on and so forth. So also we need to look whether we have missing data. So we can see here, we don't, what we want to do now is this, is that we will now want to replace the price column now. We want to change it into the normal data type. So, and how do we do that? When we write this, so we are going to change it into the normal data type. So now when we run this and we check our information again, we can see now that price has now changed to an integer. So now let us now do something. Now looking at this particular data frame, you can see it's not giving us what we want. The location is just giving so we need to split it into the address, the state, we have the street if possible, so which we can do that. So just to be able to be sure which the particular property that is being mentioned, the street, the precise location, we can do that. So, and that can be done from here like this. So, and this is being done. So we have this. So we have the description, the house type, location, the price, the address, and the state. So, and also we can have different, we can extract the city and street from the address column as well. So from the address column, we can extract the city and the street. So we're going to do that just now. So we can see this here. So we have the description, house type, location, price, address, state, street, and city. So, and as well, if we want to drop location and address, we can drop that. We can use the dot drop to undo that. So we'll do that. So we have this. So we can actually do that basically. So now we're going to go ahead and just so we know, these are just different way of exploring the data set. So, and yeah, we just want to get the unique cities. So unique cities where we have the data where we scrape the website. So, and that has to do with counting the locations like Ikoyi, Lekki, Ketu, Aja, Ibejuleki, and so on and so forth, like that. So now, not just to waste our time. So now we can get to know the average price of houses in each city. So, for example, the average price um, of an apartment in Agege is roughly, that is 2.5 m. Exactly. So 2.5 m. So in Aja is 3.6 m. In Apapa. So this information, these values actually is an insight that we can use, that we can communicate with our client or someone that actually needs the information, basically. So, and also we can actually want to know the most popular house type. We can look at it from here. The most popular house type by count. So we can see luxury 4-bedroom is the most popular, then followed by 3-bedroom apartment, then followed by mini flat. So now, so let us look at something else. Okay, so we can look for the average price for house type. We can look for the average price for each state. So average price for each state, for example, now the average price for each state, we can see that we have Lagos, Abuja, Rivers, Ogun, Akwa Ibom. So now looking at this here visually, because we have the value here, so we can't appreciate it very well unless we visualize it. So looking at it visually here, we see that Lagos price is on the high side, then followed by Abuja, and followed by Rivers, and followed by Ogun State, and followed by Akwa Ibom. So this is trying to tell us the average house prices in those states. So, and as well, we want to check the state with the maximum and minimum average price. We can look at that here. So we have Lagos as the highest price, Akwa Ibom as the minimum price, basically. So as well, just to do a specific analysis. So for if you want to look in Lagos State, we want to look at average house price in Lagos. So we want to say where houses are very, very on the high side. House rent are very on the high side. We can see it from here that in Ikoyi, Victoria Island, Eko Atlantic City, Maryland, Magodo, followed by Ikeja, Apapa, then Lekki. So we can see. So we see that is Ikorodu and Ketu, Shomolu, that houses are very cheap there. So, but the ones that houses are very, very, very on the high side, Ikoyi, Victoria Island. So these are just still exploratory data analysis, basically. So, okay. So now what we have done here is that based on what is on this website, we were able to scrape everything that is here. So, but if you want to actually be suffering through this particular website, it's going to actually take you time. So that's the essence and beauty of data science and data analysis. And now we are talking in particular web scraping to enhance your data science and analytics processes. So now we're able to scrape the website, the Nigerian Property Center website, using request and BeautifulSoup. So to scrape the website and get valuable and credible information. For example, now we're able to know that where we have house rent on the high side is Ikoyi. So any other place in Ikoyi. So if I'm looking to actually maybe I want to I want a house in a very very classy and fancy place, and I will have and I say I want a place where houses is on the high side in Lagos. So then from this information here, I have already gotten an insight that okay, I can get an apartment in Ikoyi because on the high side if I have money. So if I want to be on the average, so I can go for Lekki, Yaba, Surulere, or Bagada. I can just go there. If I'm trying to manage my expenses, I can go to K2 and Ikorodu. So this is just an insight. So the same thing goes to by state. So it means that if I want to get an apartment, I can get an apartment in Ogun State. Or if I want to relocate, based on my salary, I relocate to Ogun State and be coming to work in Lagos State. So based on rent, so this is still a valuable insight, basically. So now this is just one step, which is using request and beautiful soup. So another way of doing that is we can use Selenium and beautiful soup. So now, like I said, it actually allows us to scrape the website as well. So combining Selenium and beautiful soup actually is another way of scraping a website. So some websites might not allow you to scrape using request and beautiful soup, but when you use Selenium and beautiful soup together, then you can be able to scrape the website. So now looking at here, we're able to write this particular block of code to scrape the same website, basically, and it's telling us the number of, you can see it's telling us, okay, page one script, page two script. So it's telling us the progress of the scraping and until it stopped the scraping and it reaches the number of rows that we wanted, which is 1,000 rows. So that's for the Selenium and beautiful soup. So another one is using the Scrappy CLI tool. So Scrappy CLI tool is a standalone tool that can be used to scrape a website. So you can pip install Scrappy and then you can write a block of code similar to this. And when you do that, when we scrape the same website, we are going to have the same thing. So the same information we scrape there, we are going to have the same thing here as well. But disclaimer notice, Scrapy does not actually work on Jupyter Notebook, but I was able to make sure it works on Jupyter Notebook due to the way I actually wrote my code and the type of package I used. So what Scrapy works for, Scrapy works in a VS Code terminal, or it works in a command line prompt. So where you run it there and you scrape what you want to scrape from a particular website, basically. So, and also you can use request and XML so to actually scrape a website. So now I did this basically, and it gave me a particular error. So I actually left this so that we can see. So now, why did this give an error? It's saying page one script, total row 0, page 2 0, page 3 0, page 4 0, page 5 0, page 6 0. So I had to cancel, break that process due to the fact that the reason is that it is keeping the page, and the reason is because of the nature of the website. So it is not giving us what we need due to the page, the way the page renders using JavaScript. So which means that LXML is not compatible with this particular website, this NigeriaPropertyCenter.com website, and that's due to the fact that the way the page renders is it uses JavaScript basically. So, but it can work for other websites that does not use JavaScript to render basically. So, and also we have LangChain and Sync Chromium loader. So this LangChain plus Async Chromium loader is going to be left as what we are going to be teaching you when you join us in our boot camp. In our training, yes. So which is going to last for 16 weeks. So you can actually join us. You can join. So we have lots of projects where you can learn from, which are hands-on from day one to the last day where you get your certificate. So Mindflux is the place to be, where we can teach you how to actually leverage on data, and you can actually learn how to apply data science and data analytics to solve real world problem. So on this note, I would like to say thank you for attending the webinar. So, and you can contact us on this phone number, or you can email us at support@mindflux.academy, or you can visit our website at www.mindflux.academy. So, I will have to hand over to Olumide now. So, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone. Does anyone have questions for Michael? I'm sorry, I said Michael. Ayobami. Thank you, Ayobami. All right. Does anyone have questions for Ayobami as regards to what he has explained? Any feedback? So let's start by we are taking questions now. You can unmute your mic, please. Yes, we will
Okay.
share the slide.
All right. Thank you. That's just what I wanted to ask. Thanks.
Any other question? Okay, so in the absence of questions, we want to say, okay, Jonathan, please go ahead.
Good evening. Please, I want to know what are the legal implication of scraping a website? Can you just scrape any website without consequences? And then you can be sued for breach of information, just something like that, for privacy.
Okay, so this is one thing about the legality of scraping a website. Number one, if you want to scrape a website, actually, let's say for example, you are looking for a data for a particular research, or you want to actually uh, answer a business problem. So you need, and you have seen where the data is. So number one, you need to check the legal use. For example, in some particular websites, basically they always put the legal use of how you can scrape websites, basically. But I doubt it if most um, websites in Nigeria has that. But when you want to scrape some websites that are not Nigerian based, that are foreign based, like websites in the US, in Canada, in Europe, they have all these terms and conditions, basically, and they have privacy policy. So if you check their privacy policy, you can be able to see how to see, they can put it there, but most of the time, some website doesn't put it there, basically. So in the privacy policy for some websites, you are going to see it there and how to use their data. And they can even link you to an API where you can be linked to their how to get their data directly, other than scraping their website. So, and this is just one of the way to ethically do things, because you can't just go to a website and scrape a website, basically. So because some website, as you visit some website, they can have access to your IP address, and they can know that you're actually doing such thing. So it's better to check their terms and condition and or privacy policy to be able to know if you can do that or not. And if you cannot do that, you can email them or ask or reach out to them that okay, you need so and so data. So how can you proceed? You want to do this and this, so that you can be on a safer side, so you won't be liable to any legal action. So that's just it.
All right. Thank you. Jonathan, does that answer your question?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So our first cohort will be starting in the month of July. The actual date to be communicated. Enrollment will start this coming week. Will start this coming week. That's next week. Enrollment will start next week. So please stay tuned. Watch out for your email. So at the end of this call, you will get a mail. You get a mail containing the points, the key points from this webinar. You also get the slides and also a link to join our WhatsApp community. So we urge you to please join so you can stay updated to informations and other boot camps that will be coming up also, and also webinars that will be coming up in between. And then as soon as our form for as soon as we start taking enrollment, we'll also send you a mail. So thank you very much. We really appreciate your time, making out the time to join us for this webinar. Does anybody have any other question? Okay, so if there are no questions, we want to say we've come to the end of the webinar. Thank you very much. Do enjoy the rest of your night and have a good night rest. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.